You know, we have his music, some of his writing, some of
man,
his
but
influence.
look, we take his stuff and take it to another level.
Quincy Jones' death at age 91. Just as stories about Michael Jackson's death began to emerge, left many wondering, was this a coincidence or part of a larger story? We don't know. As one of the last people to reveal the truth about Michael Jackson, did Quincy take the dark secrets of the legend's death to the grave? To learn more about what's yet to be revealed, explore this intriguing story. But before we delve into these mysteries, let's start with Quincy Jones' childhood to get the clearest view of him. Quincy Jones was born on March 14, 1930, in a tough South Side neighborhood in Chicago, Illinois, into a working-class family. His mother, Sarah Francis, was an intelligent and thoughtful woman who worked in banking, but she suffered from schizophrenia. Quincy's father, Quincy Delight Jones Sr., was a carpenter and semi-professional baseball player, struggling to provide for the family during the hardships of the Great Depression. When Quincy Jones was 7 years old, his mother, Sarah Francis, began to show signs of a severe mental disorder, now known as schizophrenia. She suffered from paranoid episodes, locking herself in her room and crying and screaming uncontrollably. When Quincy Jones was 10 years old, his family moved to Seattle, Washington, a city that promised new opportunities and an escape from the hardships of life in Chicago. But Seattle was not quite the paradise they had hoped for. Here, Quincy faced the challenges of racial discrimination and a life of struggle in poverty. In Seattle at that time, the African American community still faced racial barriers, including clear segregation in education, employment, and daily life. Schools and public areas were often marked by race, limiting the freedom and access to education and jobs for blacks. In addition, discrimination was evident in the way he was treated by the people around him, and even some of his teachers. Despite Quincy's outstanding musical talent, he was often overlooked or had to fight for recognition. He has said that he felt sometimes unacknowledged or even marginalized. It was during this difficult time that Quincy and his brother Lloyd discovered a place that helped them find joy, an abandoned church near their neighborhood. In the church, there was an old piano, long forgotten, but still playable. Quincy was fascinated by the piano and decided to learn to play the instrument himself with Lloyd. During those long days with nothing to do, the two brothers spent time exploring music on their old guitar, learning to play by ear and figuring out each note themselves. He not only learned how to play music, but also realized that music could be a means to help him escape his difficult life and create a better future. While at Garfield High School in Seattle, Quincy quickly mastered the skills of playing many musical instruments, especially the trumpet. Music teachers at Garfield recognized Quincy's special talent and encouraged him to participate in the school's musical activities, including choir and band. He was then recruited to play in a swing band formed by his classmates. After graduating from Garfield High School in 1950, Quincy attended Seattle University for 1 semester before transferring to Berklee College of Music in Boston. As a teenager, Quincy Jones would sneak into Seattle jazz clubs and lounges to perform with older musicians, even though he was still underage by law. When Quincy Jones was 14 years old, he met one of the most important friends and musical collaborators in his life, Ray Charles. At that time, Ray Charles was also just a teenager, and although he had been blind since childhood, he still showed an outstanding musical talent that no one could deny. The two quickly became friends, playing music together in their early performances at clubs and tea rooms. Ray Charles taught Quincy many things about music, especially about how to feel and express emotions through sound. Quincy's association with Ray Charles lasted throughout his life, and the two collaborated on many musical projects that made a huge mark on music history. Quincy Jones' first musical success came when he received a scholarship to Berklee College of Music, one of the most prestigious music schools in the United States. However, after only a short time studying at Berklee, Quincy decided to leave the school. Quincy received an invitation to join the legendary jazz band Lionel Hampton on tour, and this was an opportunity not to be missed. Lionel Hampton's band, then one of the leading jazz groups in America, allowed Quincy to play on big stages, interact with famous artists, and learn a lot about how to organize and perform music. The experience from this tour helped Quincy broaden his horizons in the world of music, and it was also the time when he began to teach himself about composition, arranging, and conducting. Although he had no formal training in this field, Quincy explored and studied the works of great musicians, and from there developed the skills that became a special mark in his later career. After touring with Lionel Hampton, Quincy Jones continued to develop his musical career and also began to explore the field of music production. He became a conductor and composer for many major orchestras and also wrote arrangements for other famous artists. Quincy's talent was quickly recognized in the music industry. His musical works have made a strong mark in the genres of jazz, pop, and film. Quincy Jones first achieved success when he made a deep mark on the jazz scene with revolutionary albums, notably Big Band Bossa Nova Night Cease to Do, and The Birth of a Band, Ni Tu No Tensid. Not only affirming his talent as an orchestral conductor, The Birth of a Band is also an important milestone that helped Quincy Jones build his name as a talented producer in the world of jazz music. This album has strongly influenced the following generations of musicians and producers, especially in the development of modern jazz. After his great success in the jazz field, Quincy Jones decided to shift his focus and expand his influence into music production, becoming one of the greatest producers in music history. Quincy Jones began to try his hand at music production in the late 1960s. One of his first major moves was to collaborate with many great artists in the music industry, including Frank Sinatra, Sarah Vaughan, Ray Charles, and many other legendary jazz artists. However, Quincy Jones was not only a musical facilitator, but also an innovator, bringing innovative and creative ideas to his projects. In the 1970s, Quincy Jones began to form his style of music production. He was especially notable for combining different music genres, incorporating elements of jazz. One of the most important milestones in Quincy Jones's music production career was his collaboration with Michael Jackson on the album Off the Wall, 1999. This was one of the first albums that Quincy Jones acted as the main producer, and it also opened a new chapter in Michael Jackson's career, creating a new, modern sound that was accessible to a global audience. Hits such as Don't Stop Till You Get Enough and Rock With You brought Michael Jackson to the peak of fame. Also, thanks to Quincy Jones's production talent, Off the Wall became Michael Jackson's first album to be nominated for a Grammy. The breakthrough occurred when Quincy Jones created Thriller 1982, the most renowned record. Thriller revolutionized mainstream music and was a commercial triumph. The album sold over 6 million copies worldwide, making it the best-selling album ever. Michael Jackson became a global music superstar with Billie Jean, Thriller, and Beat It hits. Quincy Jones has produced for Michael Jackson and many other artists. He has produced Aretha Franklin, Donna Summer, James Ingram, and Luther Vandross. He produced several of these musicians' iconic albums, helping them succeed commercially and artistically. Quincy Jones is versatile and creative while writing cinematic scores. His music for Steven Spielberg's 1985 picture, The Color Purple, is a highlight of his career. Quincy Jones created and contributed to the film's emotional and culturally significant soundtrack. This effort earned him an Academy Award nomination, demonstrating his versatility as a music producer. In addition to being loved for his songwriting and producing talents, Quincy Jones is also a man who has achieved many significant achievements and recognitions in his career. He has received 28 Grammy Awards, more than any other artist or music producer in history. This is a clear testament to his profound influence in the music world. Quincy Jones has also won countless other awards, including Golden Globe Awards, Emmy Awards, and the Academy of Musical Arts and Sciences Lifetime Achievement Award. He was the first person to receive a Grammy Award for Lifetime Achievement at the age of 60 and has become an icon in the music industry. Jones also participated in the production of films and television shows, especially in the field of film music. One of the most prominent works is the soundtrack to The Color Purple 1985, a film directed by Steven Spielberg, for which Quincy Jones contributed the music. In addition, he also produced The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, 1990, one of the famous sitcoms of the 90s. So, now, let's rewind to the beginning. Quincy met Michael when he was 12, starting a partnership that would bring us off the wall, Thriller, and Bad. But by the late 80s, they had broken up. Why? According to the Los Angeles Times, Michael thought Quincy was old and out of date. Ouch. After Michael died in 2009, Quincy sued MG's estate for what he claimed was the misuse of his work in This Is It, and won the case for $9.4 million. In a 2018 interview with Vulture, Quincy Jones did not hold back in his criticism of Michael Jackson, with whom he collaborated throughout his musical career. When asked about little-known facts about Jackson, Quincy bluntly shared that Michael Jackson stole a lot of stuff, including his hit songs. Quincy criticized that Michael took the beat of Donna Summer's State of Independence, a song he produced, and used it for Billie Jean. He also emphasized that music notes cannot lie. In addition, Quincy continued to criticize Michael Jackson for the song Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, a composition by Greg Phillinganes, asserting that Michael should share credit with Phillinganes for his contribution to the song. Quincy's criticisms not only questioned Michael's musical creativity, but also revealed a deep disappointment in their relationship. It is worth noting that Quincy is not the only one to point out the influence and plagiarism allegations related to Michael Jackson. Throughout his career, Jackson was constantly accused of copying music. In the 90s, Michael faced a lawsuit related to Thriller, The Girl Is Mine, and We Are the World, but he won the case. Another famous lawsuit involved the song Will You Be There, from the soundtrack of the movie Free Willy, when an Italian musician accused Michael of copying his song. However, the court eventually acquitted Michael. In addition to the plagiarism lawsuits, Michael has faced several other controversies. In 2007, a Belgian court ruled that You Are Not Alone, a song written by R. Kelly, bore a striking resemblance to a song by Eddie and Danny Van Passel. The court ruled that the song would be banned from being broadcast in Belgium. Michael even settled an out-of-court lawsuit with Cameroonian musician Manu Dibango over the song Mama Say Mama Sa Mama Kuza from Wannabe Startin' Somethin'. In addition to the plagiarism allegations, Quincy Jones also criticized Michael for personal issues. He said that Michael used illness as a cover for his addiction to plastic surgery, a problem that stemmed from childhood abuse. According to Quincy, Michael suffered abuse from his father, Joe Jackson, who called Michael Lugly and treated him badly. These criticisms further strained Quincy's relationship with the Jackson family. In response to these criticisms, Joe Jackson, Michael's father, dismissed them, calling Quincy jealous of his son's talent. He also claimed that Quincy was the one who plagiarized songs, producing songs like Billie Jean and State of Independence. According to him, if anyone was wrong in the relationship, it was Quincy, not Michael. The relationship between Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson, once one of the most famous collaborations in music history, has now become a storm of controversy. Quincy's candid conversations have opened up a new perspective on relationships in the music industry and on one of the biggest musical icons of the 20th century. However, Quincy Jones has not responded to the accusations that he has wronged his children. He also asserted that anyone who says they can predict the sale of one of 4 million albums is lying. He said that this is not predictable. Instead, you create music that you are truly passionate about and love. During the interview, an unnamed family member said that Quincy still harbors bitterness because Michael Jackson campaigned against him not receiving a Grammy for the album Thriller in 1982. Michael is said to have done all the work, and according to this source, the album Thriller is truly Michael Jackson's music. Thus, Michael is not only an artist but also the creator of his music, and everyone recognizes his signature sound. Quincy not only revealed information about Michael Jackson, but also expanded on his views on music and other legends. He believes that rock music is just a white man's version of the blues. Quincy also shares an interesting memory of the early years of the Beatles, when he thought they were the worst musicians in the world. He even said that Paul McCartney was a bad bassist and Ringo Starr was not worth discussing his drumming ability. Quincy also recounts an anecdote when he had to bring in jazz drummer Ronnie Verrill to help fix a song that Ringo Starr had spent hours on but still failed to get right. Looking back on Michael Jackson's Bad album, nearly 40 years later, it remains one of the most successful pop works of all time. With much debate surrounding Michael Jackson's career, however, Bad could not overcome the huge shadow of Thriller, the best-selling album of all time, and the pinnacle of Michael's creative and commercial career. Bad was under immense pressure to prove that the success of Thriller was not a fluke, but a result of genuine talent. Michael Jackson needed to prove that he could sustain success and continue to be a talented solo artist, not just the star that Thriller brought. The Bad album was not only an artistic challenge, but also a crucial step in Michael's recovery from the controversy and attention surrounding his troubled tour. Every decision regarding Bad was decisive and could have a profound impact on Michael's career. The release of Bad 25 in 2012 gave fans and music critics the opportunity to revisit the album and reassess its merits and what made Bad such an important part of Michael Jackson's career. From another perspective, while Bad was certainly a product of Michael Jackson's exceptional creative talent, it is undeniable that much of the credit for the album's enduring success goes to Quincy Jones, a seasoned producer with a keen ear for music. Quincy harnessed Michael's musical instincts to the fullest, turning his creative ideas into smash hits. Quincy has said that if anyone misunderstands his contribution, it is because they don't fully understand his role in the success of Bad. He insists that the story of the album has yet to be told, and that there are details that have never been told. After the Victory Tour ended in December 1984, Michael spent much of early 1985 attending the Grammy Awards, co-writing We Are the World, and filming the Disney film Captain EO, and he envisioned Bad as a 3-part album. However, Michael faced enormous pressure from record labels like Epic and CBS, as well as from the music industry itself, to build on the success of Thriller. Furthermore, Michael put enormous pressure on himself, as he had written a goal on his bathroom mirror to sell 100 million copies of his album. To do this, he clearly understood that he needed hits. It was at this point that Quincy Jones stepped in as a guide, helping Michael choose songs, arrange the order of the tracks, and create unity in the Bad album. Michael Jackson once sent Quincy a note asking him to remove the violin in the introduction to a song. He said it ruined the rhythm of the song, which shows Michael's meticulous attention to musical detail. By August 1986, Michael had sent a demo to Quincy at Westlake Audio in Los Angeles to be reviewed, re-recorded, and layered. However, the recording sessions with Michael got serious in January 1987, when they began work on the Bad album. Quincy shared that when you have a song you love, the first thing you do is create a solid rhythm section to set the song in place. Then you'll listen to Michael sing it a few times, maybe add some backing lines, to see if the song still has a strong feel. This helps you identify the potential of the songs, avoiding wasting time on unnecessary parts. Quincy, an award-winning producer, always focused on quality over quantity, and convinced Michael to abandon the idea of a 3-part album. According to him, every album will have songs that don't cut, but that's not the most important thing. Quincy recalls that, while working on Thriller, he and his team listened to about 800 songs and ultimately narrowed it down to 9. He stressed that only the truly impressive songs made it onto the album. When you get to the 9 songs, you have to be very honest with yourself and say that these 4, compared to the other 5, are the weakest of all, Quincy told Music Week in 2010. This required a great deal of honesty and ego sacrifice on the producer's part. The demos on Bad 25, like Don't Be Messin' Around and I'm So Glue, illustrate Quincy's point. Don't Be Messin' Around has a light, upbeat rhythm, reminiscent of the street dancing and early vibes of Thriller, but lacks the raw power of The Way You Make Me Feel from Bad. Song Groove, aka Abortion Papers, could be seen as a follow-up to Billie Jean, but its controversial subject matter pales in comparison to Billie Jean's catchy melodies, making Dirty Diana the more appropriate choice on the album. Many of the demos on Bad 25, such as Free and The Price of Fame, clearly demonstrate Michael Jackson's desire to find peace after the meteoric rise to fame and success of Thriller. The Price of Fame, a song originally planned for a Pepsi commercial in 1987, has a similar melody to Billie Jean and some of the most personal lyrics Michael has ever shared. Lines like, I want a face that no one can recognize, and my joy has turned to pain. I feel the pressure coming. I live just to win, reflect the emotional stress and pressure Michael faced in his public life. The lyrics also include poignant passages, like, "Just sign on the dotted line, you'll be fine, that always bothers me." Michael also shared his father's teachings. "My father always told me, you're not going to live a quiet life. If you're going for money and fame, I'll never lie." These words provide a glimpse into the challenging life and expectations that Michael had to shoulder from his family and the public. However, due to its personal and profound nature, the price of fame was not included in the album, and "Leave Me Alone" became a softer alternative, expressing Michael's inner turmoil. The Bad 25 album also includes previously unreleased recordings, such as Streetwalker and Fly Away. Streetwalker continues Michael's return to the themes of street life, but lacks a strong chorus. Fly Away is arguably one of the strongest songs left on Bad, but it doesn't stand out when compared to famous ballads like Liberian Girl, which was chosen to be included on the official album. In addition, several other songs that Michael recorded for Bad remain unreleased, including Bad Company, Broken Chair, Buffalo Bill, Get Back on Me, The Hunt, Tomboy, and What You Do to Me. One of the most notable songs, Cheater, was released on the Ultimate Collection in 2004. Despite the vast array of compositions to choose from, one of the last songs recorded for Bad was Man in the Mirror, a popular song that was not written by Michael, further highlighting the diversity and influence of this album on his career. 2 years after the experimental recording sessions began, Quincy Jones was desperate for an undeniable hit to complete Bad. The album was finally completed in July 1987. For $2 million to produce, Bad became a huge success, selling 35 million copies worldwide, including 8 million in the United States alone. However, Bad also marked Quincy Jones' final project with Michael Jackson. Some have argued that it was a complete breakup, as Bad was the third album in a 3-album deal Michael signed with Quincy. It has also been suggested that Michael wanted more creative control and artistic recognition in his career. At the height of Bad's popularity, music producer David Geffen began consulting with Michael Jackson in preparation for upcoming contract negotiations with Sony. Geffen is said to have been instrumental in making major personnel changes within Michael's team, including convincing Michael to fire attorney John Branca, manager Frank DeLeo, and eventually Quincy Jones. Quincy also said he felt unfairly blamed for Bad's failure to surpass the success of Thriller, both in sales and awards. Although Bad sold over 30 million copies, Michael did not win a Grammy in 1988, which left him feeling dissatisfied. Quincy recalled that Michael told him that you can't get used to selling 50, 60 million albums, but he retorted, saying that 30 million is a huge success, not a failure. However, the conflicts between Michael and Quincy became more and more apparent. The famed producer, who was 91 in 2012, said he did not want to spend another 3 years in the studio working with Michael. He felt it was too long and that he was tired of making albums. According to Quincy, Bad was a very long album, and, in his opinion, no album by Michael since Bad could match its success. Some have suggested that Quincy intentionally let Michael down after deciding to leave him. While these conflicts became part of the Michael Jackson story until he died in 2009, Quincy maintains that Michael's later albums lacked the discipline and cohesion that albums like Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad had. On June 25, 2009, Michael Jackson died at his home on North Carrollwood Drive at the age of 50. His death was due to cardiac arrest due to propofol and benzodiazepine intoxication. The next morning, Michael's physician, Conrad Murray, found him in his bedroom, not breathing. The doctor performed CPR and rushed Michael to the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center. However, Michael was pronounced dead at the hospital. Although his death left behind priceless musical treasures, the story of his passing has always been shrouded in doubt. After Michael Jackson's death, investigations were conducted to clarify the real cause. One of the notable findings was that Dr. Murray used an incorrect method of CPR on a soft bed, instead of the usual hard surface, which led to Michael's unintentional death. Dr. Murray was convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 4 years in prison. However, he only served 2 years in prison before being released for good behavior, which many felt was unreasonable. How could someone who caused a death be released so soon? After Michael Jackson's death, there were many suspicions of foul play or conspiracy behind his death. The Los Angeles Police Department stepped in to investigate and determine the exact cause, while also looking into conspiracy theories surrounding the singer's death. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office confirmed that Michael's death was caused by an overdose of a combination of propofol and benzodiazepine. Michael's daughter, Paris Jackson, has been vocal about her views on the allegations surrounding her father's death, claiming that there was a large-scale conspiracy behind Michael's death. Although the investigation has not been able to determine a specific motive, many believe that if Michael were still alive, Dr. Murray would not have been charged, as he was paid a monthly salary of around $150,000 by Michael. Information from investigations after Michael's death showed that he had been using a large amount of antidepressants. Such use of antidepressants indicates that Michael may have suffered from depression. Specifically, he used anti-anxiety drugs such as alprazolam and sertraline. During the period when he was struggling with drug addiction, Michael was said to have taken up to 40 alprazolam tablets every night before going to bed. In addition, one of the drugs that Michael regularly used was propofol, an anesthetic that can only be used in hospitals under medical supervision. After Michael's death, investigations discovered many bottles of the drug in his home. Michael suffered from severe insomnia, and to solve this problem, he asked the anesthesiologist to inject propofol so that he could sleep. Medical experts believe that such drug abuse may have been the cause of his cardiac arrest. Michael Jackson, considered one of the greatest performers of the 20th century, was buried at Forest Lawn Cemetery in Los Angeles. More than 11,000 fans gathered at the cemetery for his memorial service, although only family members attended the private service. But after federal and criminal investigations, attention has now turned to Forest Lawn, Glendale, where Michael was laid to rest. After Michael died, doctors decided to preserve his brain for further examination. They believed that examining the brain would help clarify what happened in the final minutes of his life and determine the exact cause of death, especially since a drug overdose was suspected. Within 2 weeks, doctors performed neuropathological tests to find out more important information about Michael's death. However, this decision caused a delay in his burial. Michael's family, suffering from great grief, requested that his body be buried with his body intact, not leaving his brain. Even for medical reasons, they did not agree with burying him without such an important body part. Therefore, the family asked the Los Angeles Medical Examiner's Office to return Michael's brain. Doctors respected this wish and performed a brain transplant, and the family was finally able to hold a funeral for him. Yet, even now, years later, fans are still unable to find peace with the official explanation for his death. There are still many unanswered questions surrounding Michael's death. Millions of fans still do not believe that his death was an accident and believe that there may have been a conspiracy behind his passing. Some conspiracy theorists even suspect that music mogul Quincy Jones, who worked closely with Michael for many years, may have had something to do with his death. Some believe that powerful people in the entertainment industry may have played a role in the events surrounding Michael's death. With Quincy Jones passing, questions about Michael's death have become even more prominent. Was Michael's death just a sad end to a life of great talent, or was it part of a larger cover-up? Did Quincy Jones know too much about Michael's death, and could he have been prevented from ever revealing the truth? Even though Quincy Jones is dead, the secrets he carries may still be unsolved. Hollywood may have thought they had buried the truth, but people are starting to ask questions that can't be ignored. What do you think about this story? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more interesting updates. Thank you and see you in the next video.